I love that these are coming back in style because I feel like a little assimilated shtetl Jew. Welcome back to another episode of And God Was Like. I'm your host, Ariel Kaplan. Just a little reminder that I did go to Jewish day school for 14 years, but I really was not paying attention at all, and so I'm basically relearning the Torah with you. And what I learned this week is that Devarim sucks. You guys, it's so long and it's so boring. It's like Moses is just popping Xanax, forgets that he already told us not to commit idolatry, that we must conquer the land of Israel even if we're afraid of their hot bodies. Like, dude, what are you doing? I asked my friend, Maimonides nuts, and I can't believe I didn't realize this before. The entire book of Devarim is just his speech. Moses isn't popping Xanax. He's postponing his death by giving the longest speech ever. Absolute genius. Giddy up, y'all. We're getting fucking into it. Chapter 7. In this chapter, Moses reiterates all of the blessings that God will bestow upon the Israelites if they follow his commandments. One of them being that the Israelites will be so fertile. How fertile will they be? They will be so fertile that even their livestock won't have trouble conceiving. Wow. So then Moses explains that when you're in God's crew, no one will fuck with you. What God is going to do is slowly kill all of the enemies in Canaan, because you can't do it all at once or like they'll notice, obviously. So we got to do it kind of like a la Janice Ian, one by one. Chapter 8. Do you want to be on top? Do you have what it takes to be God's next top nation? Honestly, at this point, I don't think they do, but let's just go with it. So just like Tyra Banks, God is going to continue to test the Israelites. Because what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, bitch. The iconic line, man cannot live by bread alone, is in this parsha. And that is to explain that man can't live on bread alone, but what he can live on is whatever God wants him to live on, which honestly does not make me feel better. And then Moses explains the 7 species of Israel. We've got wheat for kindness, barley for restraint, grapes for beauty, figs for endurance. Okay, you guys, tell me these aren't aphrodisiacs. Pomegranates for majesty and glory. Olives for foundation. I don't really know what that means, but Maimonides, not Maimonides nuts, like the really old, very dead Maimonides, says that oil cleanses the liver and makes it easier for us to shit. And then we've got dates, which stands for kingdom, I guess. Dome, if you will. Chapter 9. Okay, so Moses is like, you guys, you're about to cross the Jordan. Psych, bitch, I'm gonna keep on talking. Once you get to Israel and you're living like the hotshot life, I just really, really hope, that you don't sell out and worship idols. That's just like so cliche. Chapter 10. A lot of boring stuff, repetitive, yada, yada, yada. I have to talk about this one line where Moses tells the Israelites to circumcise the foreskin of their hearts. What the fuck does that mean? I'll tell you. So my boy Rashi says that we must remove the cover on our hearts that prevent God's words from gaining entrance to them. It's very simple. You just gotta, and then, yeah, no big deal. And this dude, Ezra, says, the circumcision is a metaphor for distancing yourselves from your desires, which are as thick and heavy as foreskin. I think I like Rashi's interpretation better. To reach God, we have to get rid of all of the blockage and shit so that we can really connect with him and remove all emotionally unavailable barriers. So my daddy issues are so deep-rooted that is going to take more than just a pair of scissors. Chapter 11, skipping over all the boring stuff, blah, 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 idolatry, God's the best, you have to be confident, don't fear anyone. Okay, in a small line, Moses alludes to the resurrection of the dead. I've talked about this before, and I don't remember which episodes, so you're just gonna have to watch all of them. But the resurrection of the dead happens with the return of the Mashiach, the Messiah. What Moses tells the Israelites is that God will ultimately complete his covenant with their forefathers, Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac, the only Jews he really likes apparently, I guess Moses too, which means that eventually when the Mashiach comes before the year 2240, so Time's a ticking, y'all. When the Mashiach comes, everyone who is buried in Israel will just like crawl out of their graves, I guess, and those who aren't will go through these underground tunnels to get to Israel. And that is why most people are buried in the promised land, because the tunnel process is apparently very like spiritually damaging or some shit. And you're going to be resurrected in the same clothing that you were buried in. So make sure you wear something cute. Moses makes it very clear God doesn't really like us. He likes our forefathers, and we are the generation of redemption because our ancestors sinned a lot. That is the basis for Jewish guilt. Thank you, ancestors. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Do me a favor, call your grandma.